every hockey player's dream, obviously, is to win the Stanley Cup.
Right.
So you get to the NHL, you get 180 games under your belt. What is it like to be a part of an expansion team where you know that odds are obviously astronomical that you're going to get to that peak?
Astronomical, yes, but I guess every player has its own situation. So some of us are climbing ladders backwards, some of us are coming down. I think the ultimate goal was that first game against Edmonton. I mean, you're on the ice. I mean, you're there. The family's in the stands. You work hard. You work out. You do everything possible to make it, and it happens. And I was fortunate enough to play a number of games here, but God-given and everything else, it was my route. So I wish everybody could experience it, but it's not the way it works. And Stanley Cup is great, but it's not meant for all of us.
What was that ride, that path like for you to that very first game? And did you know how special it was in the moment, as opposed to looking back now and forth, you're like, oh, that was great, I played the NHL, but that in the moment, were you able to even understand what was going on?
In the moment I did, and there were a couple. There was one in Montreal as well, where my grandfather passed away, and he was a Habs fan. But yeah, being on that ice for the anthem, my first game, which Trotzy, gave that to me. It's something that's ingrained in your memory, and you just don't forget it. You can see yourself standing alone. You feel the jingles of the anthem. You hear the crowd. And that's what it's all, the journey is what it's about. And some play longer than others, but you know what? I mean, as long as you get a taste of it and you understand it, you can help others, and that's what I'm doing now.
Now, Rob, coming back to Nashville here, obviously the Nashville Predators, Bridgestone Arena were a big part of Nashville just starting the growth in downtown and revitalization of the downtown area. Obviously, you probably don't get to come here near as much, but what is it like every time you come back here to see how much the city is changing?
I was back here maybe 6 years ago, traveling through. I honestly, driving around here, don't even know the city anymore. That's how much it's grown. The building's going up, and I still have a lot of friends here. We talk, and it's incredible what's going on. I mean, this is an explosion. And quite honestly, I love Nashville, and I'm so excited for them. I hope they can handle it, and I hope the growth isn't too much. But this is not the same city my wife and I knew, and I'm excited to get her back here just so she can see what's going on. I mean, this is incredible. I love it.
Taking it back a little bit farther to your college career, Lake Superior State, one of the things that UAH, University of Alabama Hunts, with the WCHA now, that the CCHA doesn't exist. Do you still follow college hockey a little bit, especially you were a former college hockey player?
Yeah, I do. At times, I still follow Lake State. Back in my day, I sound really old now saying that, but back in my day, you had Michigan State, you had us in Wisconsin in the Final Four. I mean, the CCHA was very dominant. Things have changed with the Big Ten. We do watch it. You see the All-Stars coming out of these leagues, and for a lot of us, you're seeing these bigger kids that can skate, shoot, pass, and hit. And they were an exception in our day, but now they're more common. So I think the real hockey player right now, and like when I coach, you're trying to find that kid that can do it all. And so are the scouts, and so is Nashville and everybody else. And these kids are a lot more driven than we were growing up, and I was very driven. But they know what they want, and they're going after it, which is actually excelling the sport.
Now, speaking of coaching, you mentioned that being a former pro and now being a coach. What has changed lately from when you were growing up and getting coached to your look at how you're coaching kids now?
To be very honest and blunt, which I usually am, the one change I see, the kids are a little more talented than we were back in my day, but we were actually more focused on listening to what the coach wanted. And I think back in my day, we understood we all had roles, and that's what I'm trying to teach my 10-year-olds. I might have a Crosby or an Ovechkin or whatever on my line or my team, but I also have a Maltby or a Fitzgerald or a Johnson or a Valicevic. So you got to understand who you are and what you're capable of doing. And it's hard to relate that to the children because they all want to be a Datsuk. They all want to be that star player, and we aren't built that way. I mean, even at the ages of 10 and 12, you're seeing the natural capabilities of the players, and the children aren't as willing to accept that as we were. The coach said, run through the wall, you ran through the wall. So it's just a different mentality that coaches have to adapt to now to pull the best out of them, which is fine. I mean, everything changes. But overall, you're still searching for that child that's not only driven, but understands what they're capable of doing, along with the parents.
Safe to say that you believe in the every player needs to know his role type mentality?
Totally. It's still proven in the playoffs. mean, let's be honest. I mean, you got LA now; they've done extremely well. Boston, all these teams. Not that you have an older division, but you have players that have to score goals, have assists, back check, forecheck. You know, the offensive game has changed a little more on that side for the top 6. But your bottom 3 and 4 win you championships, but they have to know they have to bang. You have to back check. You have to create penalties. You have to. There's so many different things, and when you see the playoffs every year, you see the same things come out. And I believe in the NHL. I mean, I could be wrong, but you're going to see the same thing in the playoffs. You have to be willing to sacrifice, block shots. This is my job. This is what I'm supposed to do. Your job is this. And if you work together, it's all going to come to fruition, and you're going to win. Even Crosby, Pittsburgh just proved it. I mean, all your top 6 are hitting now, right? But they're back checking, but they're also scoring goals. And then your 3rd and 4th lines are all basically contributing as well. But they're playing their role. So I think old school hockey is not going to change. And, you know, if you're a big 6'6" guy, and you better be banging unless you're Mario Lemieux. Right? I mean, if you're Mario Lemieux, then you're not a 3rd, 4th liner. If you're Mario Lemieux, you're top 6, and you're going to be putting pucks in the net. So I think that's what makes the players nowadays. They're all talented, but the ones who find themselves first are the ones who will last.
Rob, you had that first hat trick in team history that night in Chicago. What do you remember about that?
I remember every second. I remember the first goal. I had no options. I threw it at the net, went in. Right? I remember the second goal. A shot from the point going wide on my right side, deflected it, and somehow found a hole. And I remember the last goal. Barahowski threw it, was going wide left, tipped it in, and that found an odd hole. And then Probert slashed me in the back or cross-checked me. And, you know, that entire sequence is something you don't forget. And it was special. It doesn't go away. Was I fortunate? Yeah. Should I have gotten it? Probably not. You know, because basically I scored 3 goals in 1 shot. So, you know, but I believe going to the net scores a lot of goals. So I knew that in order for me to do well, I had to get the puck out to somebody else and basically find my space in front of the net and score somewhere in the blue. And that was me. So,
when you were here in the early years, did you ever think that this kind of growth of this team, that this would that it was possible for this team to be such a perennial Stanley Cup contender?
Honestly, I did. I mean, David Poyle, you know, Barry Trotz, they did a spectacular job. There were times during the week where we might have half the barn full. And the way the city has adopted this team and the way they have put the team out there to be part of the community, I think is shown right now. You know, now, I mean, year to year, you're battling Detroit, you're battling these top teams. You've become something from, we had to work so hard to win, that you have the talent now. Now it's combining the two. And the city has just sort of said thank you, and they keep coming back. And Tuesday night I was here, and it was packed, and it was awesome. So, yeah, I think the staff here is doing a great job. I mean, Mr. Poyle is on the verge of a genius. He built something from nothing, you know, and he trusted the fans trusted him, and, you know, as long as I live, I'll always trust him. He's done a great job here in the city.
The league is expanding still with the 31st team coming to Vegas next year. As a former expansion team player, what advice would you give to the Golden Knights as to how they can be successful quickly?
I think you need to bring in the Johnsons, the Rownings, the Fitzgeralds, Hulses, Billy. Sorry, Billy, I can't remember your last name right now. You need to bring in the veterans that are coming into a situation like this, not thinking my career's over, but I can build something. And the one thing I remember, Cliff, was my roommate. You know, it wasn't about him. It was about us. It wasn't that he played 1,500 games in the NHL. I was on the same page as him. So that unity that we built those first couple of years were not from the young guys. It was from the old guys that had experience. You know, pulling us in the fold, saying we are all one. We got to work together. If they can do that, they'll do well. You know, but if you pull in a veteran group that's going to say, I'm better than you, and I want to get back to a Detroit or you know, Chicago or something, it's not going to go well. So my advice would be do what Mr. Poyle did. You pull in the right people, and you work your butts off, and then you build off of it. And then you bring in better people, and you just continue to build the mountain.
That unity, is that what sticks with you most about your time in Nashville?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many people can imagine, but I'm a 27-year-old just making the NHL, and my roommate's Cliff Ronning. You know, so for me, you know, when he talked to me as a person, and we talked a lot, great roommate, you know, that made me feel welcome. And I knew I'd never be Cliff Ronning, but just for him to accept me and pull me in. And then Fitzgerald did the same thing, so did Johnson, so did all these high-end guys that anybody coming in knows who they are. So, and they, not just with me, they did it with everybody. So we had a very good base where we'd go out to eat together and we'd do a lot of stuff together, and that sort of pulled us together, and it's sort of culminating now. I mean, people want to come here. It's a great city, great fans, great association. Bridgestone's doing a great job. You're doing so many good things here that more people want to come. Better talent you get, better team you are.